Welcome to Reaching for the Moon, hosted by me, Ed Grace. Recently, there's been lots of news regarding the Artemis Return to the Moon program. Back in 2017, President Trump issued a challenge to NASA to put humans back on the lunar surface using commercial and international partners. In December of 2019, he modified that challenge to make the end date of 2024 and for that crew to include the first woman to walk on the moon. NASA accepted the challenge. They recently submitted a $28 billion plan to Congress, which is what they feel they need in order to make this objective. Today, I'd like to discuss this plan with you. Unlike Apollo, where NASA selected prime vendors for each Apollo component needed, NASA's been working with many partners, basically competing against each other to meet the requirements of the challenge. This new era of lunar exploration is named the Artemis program and part of NASA's plan for its next giant leap, the exploration of Mars. Named after Apollo's twin sister, Artemis will be the first time humans will land on the lunar surface since 1972. That's when Gene Cernan, astronaut of Apollo 17, became the last man to walk on the moon. Earlier this year, NASA selected 3 companies to develop new lunar landers that will carry astronauts to the surface of the moon in 2024 and beyond. NASA awarded contracts to SpaceX, Dynetics, and a Blue Origin-led team that includes Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Draper Labs to design and build human landing systems for Artemis. The Artemis human landing system consists of 3 elements: an ascent element, a descent element, and a transfer element. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine said NASA is returning astronauts to the moon for scientific discovery, economic benefits, and inspiration for a new generation of explorers. In his recently released NASA report, Bridenstine said, "As we build up a sustainable presence, we're also building momentum towards those first human steps on the red planet." With the Artemis program, NASA plans to land on the moon by 2024, using innovative technologies to explore more of the lunar surface than ever before. We will collaborate with our partners and establish sustainable exploration by the end of the decade. Then we will use what we learn on and around the moon to take the next giant step, sending astronauts to Mars. Astronauts will travel to the lunar surface using NASA's powerful new rocket, the Space Launch System, and the Orion spacecraft. As you can see, the SLS and Saturn, that was the rocket used on the Apollo program, are approximately the same size. The Orion design looks similar to the Apollo command module, both with heat shields. However, the Orion can accommodate up to 4 astronauts, whereas the Apollo command module only could handle 3. Both the Space Launch System rocket and the Orion spacecraft are scheduled for a series of important tests in the next 12 months. Once these tests are completed successfully, NASA has planned 2 test flights around the moon. The first one will be an unmanned mission late in 2021, and the second will be crewed in 2023. Finally, in 2024, the astronauts will travel 240,000 miles to the moon's orbit and use a new commercial human landing system to travel from the Orion spacecraft to the lunar South Pole and back for the first time. Over nearly a week, astronauts will collect samples, conduct science experiments, and search for resources such as water that can be potentially extracted and converted into oxygen and fuel. These missions will be the beginning of a slow building of infrastructure and development of a permanent Artemis base camp on the moon for long-term exploration later in the decade on future missions. First on tap short-term, though, will be developing the Gateway, which is a small space station in lunar orbit, which is a key component of NASA's long-term Artemis architecture. The Gateway will include the Habitation and Logistics Outpost, called HALO, and the Power and Propulsion Element, PPE. These two elements will launch together in 2023. This is a recent update to the agency's plans to build a sustainable presence on the moon as part of the Artemis program. The decision to integrate the elements on the ground prior to launch reduces both cost and technical risks while enhancing the likelihood of mission success by eliminating the need for the two elements to dock in orbit while around the moon where the Gateway will operate. The HALO will be pressurized living quarters where astronauts will spend their time while visiting the Gateway. About the size of a small studio apartment, it will provide augmented life support in tandem with NASA's Orion spacecraft. The PPE, being designed and built by Maxar Technologies, is equipped with high-power solar electric propulsion. In addition to providing power and communications, the PPE has substantial maneuvering capabilities that will allow the Gateway to change orbits, thus enabling the crews to reach any part of the moon's surface. The $28 billion plan hinges on Congress authorizing $3.2 billion for a human landing system. Unless the funding occurs soon, NASA will not be able to meet the human on the moon date of 2024 as stated in the new report. Reaching for the Moon will continue to provide updates on the Artemis Return to the Moon program. If you like today's video, please give us a like. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get an email from YouTube every time Reaching for the Moon posts a new video. Thank you for watching, and remember, failure is not an option.